This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. How's everybody doing today? You're froze. That's probably how you're doing. It's nasty out, man. It's first week of April, and
feels like the second week of December, but
yeah, exactly. Santa's making his second rounds. Hopefully not, but yeah, it's Michigan for you. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do, right? It's April. It's not the first time we've had snow in April, and I guess I was watching this video yesterday. It had Central Park there in New York City. Snow covered. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was really pretty. So in spite of the snow, it's beautiful. You got to say at least that, right? So
I don't know, because I hate snow.
John just hates it.
I hate it. That white slop, man. I mean, I agree with Alex Keaton. He said you can put a man on the moon, but you can't stop that white slop from falling from the sky. I mean, see, I like to manipulate the environment. That's what I want. I want that.
Right.
Global warming. All about the global warming. I love, man. I embrace it.
Bring it. Yeah, I don't think that today is an argument for climate change or anything like that. But it's just Michigan. You know what I mean? It's April. It's Michigan. That's what it is. But hey, this is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about medical marijuana. We're going to talk about the Compassion Club. Let you guys know what's happening there. And all kinds of good stuff we want to share with you on the program today. So glad to be back in the studio here at allpointstv.com. And I've got John behind the camera here making it happen. Appreciate it. And first thing I want to cover today is our 420 party. It's coming up soon. This is the flyer for it. Guys, check it out. I think these things are awesome. If you buy tickets, they're $20 in advance. You're going to get a set of dog tags. That's going to be your ticket. We're not doing the little plastic bracelets this year. We're doing dog tags, and they got this groovy thing right on them. They're pretty sweet. But yeah, it is Friday, April 20th. So mark your calendars. All right, it's not going to be too much longer. It's already April 4th. So I tell you, this year is flying by. Mark your calendars for this one. We're going to be going all day long, all right? We got lots of stuff going on for the 420. I got a list here. We've got an ice cream bar. I think that's the one I was excited the most about. Let's see what else we got. We have the hot dog man from Davison. He'll be back. He's going to be serving from like 11 till 2:30. We're going to have other kinds of food going on throughout the entire day. So if you show up, buy a ticket, you're going to get fed and fed well. Let's see. We also have the 420 tasting cup. You guys, you have to have your entries in by the 13th. Okay, so it's coming up soon here. Entries got to be in by 5 p.m. April 13th for the first ever Testing Tasters Cup. This is going to replace our testing cup for 420. So if you want to get in, it is given to a panel of 5 judges. They're going to take the samples home and examine them for you. Trophies are going to be awarded to the first, second, and third in all categories. The categories are bud, concentrates, and medibles. And then, of course, there's requirements down here on the bottom for what you need to submit if you want to enter. Okay? But $20 fee for entry, per entry. Good luck to all of you guys out there, all right? It's going to be a big event, big cup. We got awesome prizes for that, and a lot of bragging rights, of course, goes along with that. So, and this one is a true Taster's Cup. We've used testing results in the past to help determine our results along with input from judges. This one here is going to be strictly input from judges. So, and I think ultimately that really is the best way to test, really, in reality. I mean, we know that cannabinoid content's important. We know that not having pesticides and other pestilence in your cannabis, in your medicine, is important as well. Those things, not to negate those at all, but when it really comes down to it, it is the overall effectiveness, period, that people are looking for. Effectiveness, which goes along with things like taste and consistency and all the other important things. So we're going to get that done. It's going to be awesome. We got killer t-shirts made for this event. I absolutely love them. Probably put one on here for the next podcast next week, as they'll hopefully be done soon. But I got a sneak preview, and I got to tell you, these are probably the coolest t-shirts we've had yet of our events. Definitely one of the coolest, I think. So you guys are definitely going to want that as well. Other 420 things we got going on. Aaron Park, awesome glass blower. He's going to be in the club doing glass, blowing glass, and bringing his pieces. So you can bring your wallets and pick out a new piece for 420. We're going to have a ping pong tournament that's going on earlier in the day. So if you're a ping pong champion or a wannabe, show up and play up. All right? 420 party is going to make it happen. We got door prizes. And let's see, what else am I forgetting? Twist off. Can't forget the twist off. I know I've already heard some people are already practicing. Okay, they're at home, they're diligently practicing. I talked to a certain contender. I'm not going to say what her name is, but she has kicked ass for like the last 5 years in a row. And she is bringing her game this year too. So
I saw some amazing things that one time I was up there covering that right after the event what happened, and I couldn't believe people could.
And I know you remember Tiffany.
Yeah,
she's the fastest roller in the West and the East. Okay, she can rip off a joint quicker than you can blink an eye. I swear. And she's a champ over and over again, and she's coming back to defend her title, I do believe. So if you guys think you can knock her off her throne, I say go for it. But you got your hands full, that's for sure. So that's the twist off. We're gonna have the other ones as well, like the best, the most original, and so on. We'll be doing that as well. Caricature artist, everybody loves that. They'll be there. We're gonna have a band, and door prizes and other good stuff like that too. So the 420 party is gonna rock. Tickets are $20. April 20th. It is a Friday, and it's going to be going on all day long, all right? So mark your calendars, and let's have a good time. It is our 10th 420 party.
Who came up with that?
Pretty awesome.
Who came up with the artwork for that poster, by the way?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a play on the Day of the Dead.
Right.
I mean, we're not that original here.
But I like it. I think it's really cool. I like the skull. I think that's like.
I think it's cool too.
I think it's kind of cool because it does kind of pay homage to the Day of the Dead, like you were alluding to.
It does. And this 420 party, I got to say, for me personally, it's special because it's our 10th one. I don't know of any other place in Michigan that's holding their 10th 420 party, but we are, and it's special. I mean, it's 10 years of memory, 10 years of you guys, 10 years of the club, and I can think of all the people that we've met in those 10 years. I mean, now the club is literally over 30,000 members. That's a lot of people, and we've certainly had some amazing friendships form, becoming literally family at the club, and we've also lost some members too. So the Day of the Dead, yeah, I know it's not necessarily our thing, but to me, it is kind of a way to remember, hey, it's been an amazing 10 years, and we love all of our members dearly, especially the ones that aren't with us anymore. So I think it's a pretty cool tribute to them.
It's like, you guys got to, this will probably give you and all the people involved in the creation of the club, like you're sitting back, oh my God, look at all the obstacles you overcome.
Continue.
You look at all and continue to overcome. And it's like, I've been around for I've known you guys for 8 years now.
Yeah.
And so, I've seen.
You're not tired of me yet, John.
No. I think I'm always intrigued by how much you guys are doing, not only for the medical marijuana thing, and also for other parts of that, but also for the community. I think it's just amazing. You got this really energized base. You people are, and it hasn't waned in 10 years. It's actually increased.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen often. That doesn't happen.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate you saying that. All right, other events we got going on here. We got the Soup Kitchen. Speaking of other stuff, that's going to be obviously the last Friday of the month in April. I have mentioned a couple times on the program that we're going to be switching our Soup Kitchen serving day, and that's coming. It is coming starting in May. So we got one more month this month of serving on the Friday. After that, starting in May, we're going to start serving on the third Tuesday of the month, and we're going to be starting to serve the lunch meal instead of dinner. So serve lunch from 11:30 to 12:30. I think you're going to want to show up at the Soup Kitchen sometime around, I'm guessing 10:30, so we have time to prepare the food for the members there. But again, that starts in May, and it is the third Tuesday of the month in May. Okay, we still are serving in April on the last Friday. Let me get you the date on that. Here, I'm going to pull it up here for you. It is April 27th. All right, so April 27th, it's the last time we're serving on a Friday. In May, we're going to switch over, and we're going to serve on the third Tuesday, which just happens to be the 15th in May. Okay, so mark your calendars. Come and join us if you can. We really need your help, and it's a good experience. And with the days switching up here in May, maybe some of you who weren't able to make it before on a Friday, certainly understandable. Hopefully this will be a little bit more workable for you, and you could help join. We really appreciate it, and I know that the people at the Soup Kitchen really appreciate it as well. So, all right, other things we got coming up here. Softball. You guys, G3C's had a softball team last couple of years. They're doing it again. For those of you that want to sign up, make sure you talk to Jorge. And for those of you that want to watch, we play on Wednesday nights out at the Grand Blanc ballpark there right by the highway. First game starts the 1st of May, which is actually going to be the 2nd of May, which is a Wednesday. So we play on Wednesdays. Last year, killer team. You guys won the championship. Great job. So I know this year you're going to be looking to try to come back and do it again. Good luck to all the players out there. Good luck to the team. And make sure you stretch ahead of time. I know we had lots of blowouts last year. So lots of stretching, or else everybody's going to be gathered around Justin's table asking for help. And he can only do so much, folks. Come on. Don't forget about that. Actually, just made me remember, we have our massage therapist in the club. We also have our chiropractor, Dr. Shelter, in the club as well on Tuesdays. Make sure you sit down and see them if you need to, okay? All right, that's about it for events. Oh, wait a minute. I got one more I do want to mention. It is our Adopt a Highway. That is coming up here in April. Let me get the date on that. I believe it's the 12th. Pull it up here for you. 14th. My apologies. So we have our Adopt a Highway coming up. Sign-up sheets are at the front desk, also at the bar. Please sign up if you can. We're going to be going Saturday morning, cleaning M13. It's the first cleanup of the year, and we need your help. All right, guys? So usually later on in the year, it may be easier to do, but it's a lot hotter, and I don't know if you'd have to worry about that this year. So, but all help is greatly appreciated. Again, that's going to be Saturday the 14th. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one here. Saturday the 14th, all right? And that is a week before 420. So Adopt a Highway. Please remember that. All right, I got some events and things I want to talk about. Obviously, I think the thing that's probably first and foremost in everybody's mind is the cease and desist letters that were issued out from the state of Michigan's LARA department. Let's talk about these in length, all right? These were sent out. We talked about this on the program last time, and they had started out with different organizations and businesses located in the area of Detroit. Now they've moved on around the state, including Flint, and quite a few different organizations around the state received these cease and desist letters issued by LARA. They were hand delivered by a representative from LARA along with a state police trooper, and just simply delivered. That's it. They were delivered. So the form letter is a basic form letter, and I'm just going to share with you guys what it is for those of you that don't know. The form letter basically states that you are to cease and desist immediately any and all actions that would be in violation of their act, the MMFLA specifically, and also the certain section of their rules, which is called 290E. If you're in violation of either one of those two things, then you needed to immediately cease and desist those activities. So this is just a general letter that was sent out to any and every place around Michigan operating with anything to do with medical marijuana in any area that did not have a ordinance passed, or in any business that did not submit an application to the MMFLA licensing department. So according to their rules, you had until February 15th to submit your application. Any place that did not submit after that time frame would be in non-compliance with the act and would be potentially ineligible to apply for the future Michigan Medical Marijuana Licensing Facilities Act. Of course, this is applicable to places that want to be a part of the act. That's the main thing here. The letters were delivered out to, I believe, nearly 400 different businesses. There's a list available on the LARA's website of all the different businesses that were included. The G3C is one of them. I've had a lot of people ask, did you get a letter? Did you get a letter? Yes, we did. And again, the letter specifically states that if you're in violation of the MMFLA Act or Section 290E, that you need to cease and desist. I'm proud to say that the G3C is not in violation of either one of those things. Our club has always operated according to the original 2008 medical marijuana law that was passed here in Michigan by the voters, and that's how we're going to continue to operate. Our place is a safe haven for patients and caregivers to meet, and that's it. We don't distribute, we haven't distributed, and we're not going to distribute. We don't test any longer. We don't want to remain in compliance. We don't transport anything. We don't grow anything. We don't process anything either. So as far as that goes, we're completely 100% in compliance with the Medical Marijuana Act of 2008, and we have no intention of participating with the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act. This is for people that want to open up large distribution centers. They want to be able to service multiple patients, places that want to grow 500 plus plants that want to transport, process, test, so on and so forth. This is all part of the Act. So if you want to be part of the Act, you need to be in a township or city that has an ordinance that allows you to be there. You need to submit your application to LARA, and you need to pay a whole lot of fees and so on and so forth. But at any rate, those are the requirements. And basically, LARA is saying, look, if you haven't done that stuff yet, you're not in compliance and you need to cease and desist. I can tell you that many of these letters were issued out across the state, as I stated before, to any place that had to do anything with medical marijuana. It's quite clear that the state used different sources to compile their list, sources like weed maps. And my point in case would be that LARA issued out quite a few of these letters. Now remember, these letters had to be hand delivered, and quite a few of these letters were issued to places that don't exist. So clearly the checklist that they came up with, the list of names of businesses, is not entirely accurate. LARA did no research at all to find out what types of businesses they are or whether or not they were actually in compliance or not in compliance. They just simply generally issued out these letters in a blanket form and expect compliance on all fronts in accordance to the actual MMFLA Licensing Act. Okay? So that's kind of where we stand at. We're a private club. We've been that way from day one. We're nonprofit. And again, we're just a place that patients and caregivers can meet each other and transact, what they're allowed to do under the 2008 Michigan medical marijuana law. That's it in a nutshell. And I think that there's going to be other places around Michigan that are going to operate in the same fashion. Currently, to date, even though the LARA department has issued nearly 400 cease and desist letters, they have yet to approve any new licensed facilities under their own act. So the obvious issue here is, where do patients get their medication in the meantime? No new place has been approved. Even if they were approved, it's going to take months and months and months for them to come online. And again, we're talking about minuscule numbers. If the MMFLA board approves one entity, then that's only one type of whatever it may be, a distribution, a transportation, so on and so forth. In fact, the two applications that were reviewed that were actually denied in the board's first meeting where they actually reviewed applications, neither one of those two places were for actually a production facility. One was for a dispensary, one was for a transport company, which I find to be a little bit ironic, seeing how neither one of those places could actually provide any services unless their cannabis came from a licensed processing facility and was put through the seed to sale tracking system to begin with. So, i.e., these places would be licensed potentially but have no product to actually provide to patients, even if they did get a license, which they did not. So at any rate, it's going to be a very slow process. The Medical Marijuana Licensing Board is scheduled to meet again in the month of April. They are scheduled to review more applications. How many they actually review, I cannot tell you. They were supposed to review 5 applications at their last meeting, and unfortunately, due to time constraints, they were only able to review 2. There have been over 400 applications submitted to the board. So as you can see, this would be a very long process if they continue along the same timeline that they have been for the current processes.
None of these fees are refundable either, are they?
Well, we're about to get into the fees, John. Thanks for bringing it up. The application fees, in some cases, are not, I guess I would say they are refundable in some regard, but only a portion. So, to give you an example, if you paid a $5,000 fee to the state and you were denied, you could expect to get back $2,500. Townships are also following suit in these as well. So you pay a fee to the township for your application. If your application is denied, you would get a portion back of your application fee, not the entire fee. What that portion is depends on the city or the city's ordinance or the township's ordinance. And the state has their own set of guidelines for that as well. Now, if you are approved, then there would be an assessment fee that would be charged or assessed at the time of an approval. And to my knowledge, that would be an annual fee. Right now, LARA is saying that that fee is $48,000 for 4 out of the 5 licenses. Or excuse me, for 3 out of the 5. If you happen to be one of the smaller growers, i.e. an application for 500 plant processing facility, your fee is reduced from $48,000 down to a lesser amount. I can't remember what that amount is off the top of my head, but I think it's like 10, 15 grand. But at any rate, if you want to grow 1,000 plants or 1,500 plants, if you want to have a transport company, if you wanted to be a processor, if you want to have a dispensary, the assessment fee is $48,000 to the state after you've paid your application fees to the state. And that would also be after you've paid your application fee to your local city, township as well. So very expensive application fees involved here, assessment fees, so on and so forth. And this coincides with what we've been reporting on the program since the start, is that it is a very expensive thing to get into for these folks. It's not really set up to transition caregivers currently and get them to go into the new licensing act. The costs are simply preventative for 90+% of the caregivers out there. It's just simply not a possibility. Unleft questions such as banking and so on, insurance bonds and other things that are required by the state for these licenses are still have not yet been answered or provided. And I think it's quite almost conspiratorial as to how these funds are being handled, in the light of the fact that no bank should be handling any funds to do with any marijuana whatsoever. I'll give you an example. Michigan Normal had to fight for their account to remain open at the local bank or credit union, whichever it was that they were using. And remind yourself, Michigan Normal doesn't handle marijuana. They're an activist group, a lobbyist group, if you will. I don't want to call them lobbyists, but they're an activist group. They don't process cannabis. They don't sell it. They don't use it. It's like saying that the Sierra Club is should be paying hunting fees.
Well, see, the way they're doing this too is
they should when they hunt, but not for just being the club, right?
Well, the way they do this for the people, like when you have a medical marijuana business, you can't have a checking account or a bank account. They're actually making it. They're making it look seedier. They're making it look like it's more clandestine and more connected to organized crime. That's what they want, that perception. That it seems like that's what part of the aim is, to make it look like a seedier, endeavor. That's what it seems like to me.
I see what you're saying, John, and I would not argue that. I think that there is an element to that as well. I think what the question I have about this whole thing is how is the state collecting all of these fees? I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars worth at this point, and obviously they have to hold on to that money in some way, shape, or form. And I doubt that they're just taking the money and sticking it in the safe in the back of the LARA department's office building. It's likely going into a bank. So how is it that this bank can now hold that money, but yet it couldn't before? How are these townships holding on to their fees as well? One township had reported over $400,000 collected in fees from these marijuana application licenses. Where is that money being held at? How is it being held? Because it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I don't have an answer for you. These are just questions that I have that I'd like answers to. So if somebody out there knows, please share. Call in. Our number is 810-250-7365. I'd love to hear what they're doing, because it doesn't seem like whatever they're doing is available to the common man. All right? It's available to the rich man. All right, so that's where we're at with the licensing. That's where we're at with the cease and desist letters. And I mentioned the fees and so on. And I want to talk a little bit about something else on this program. It's a little bit off topic. I know that normally we stick to marijuana issues and medical marijuana rights and so on like that, but I think this kind of highlights the hypocrisy at the state level, if you will. This was in the news recently, and I'm sure most of you probably caught this. Nestle's permit for water withdrawal up in, I guess it's like the Traverse City area, best I could say, northern lower Michigan. Okay, Nestle's already been pulling out 200 and some odd gallons a day for drinking water purposes. They submitted an application to increase that amount to over 450 million gallons a day, and the state approved it. They said they approved it after an extensive review, blah, 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 blah. And okay, we can all debate on whether or not that's good for the environment or not. I think most people probably agree that it's not good for the environment. But at any rate, we know we have to have business in the state, and I'm not disagreeing with that. What I think is really out of line here is the fact that Nestle was charged a $200 fee for this. So how is this multinational, multi-billionaire corporation only charged $200 for what to me seems like it would be a very drawn out, lengthy process to ensure their compliance, to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing throughout the course of their contract. It seems like there'd be a lot of cost involved in that. It also seems like there should be a fee or some type of charge given to this corporation for using our natural resources. I mean, I can't even go out and catch a bluegill without paying the state a license for it. And yet, Nestle, yeah, they're paying a fee, but it's $200.
I pay more of that in a water bill for the water I can't drink in the city of Flint.
Thank you, John. That was my next point. Is you have people in Flint that are getting their bills, their water shut off because they can't even afford to pay for their water bill, and the water they're getting isn't even potable. So, I mean, that to me is an incredibly high level of hypocrisy that our state has right now. And I think also needs to be pointed out that the state's governor, his wife, is on the board of this company. I think there's a conflict of interest there. Maybe not. Another thing, and there's another little rant that I'm going to throw on there that goes along with this, and it talks, it points to the fees, is that you guys have all seen these billboards, maybe you probably even have some in your garage, these kayaks that are for sale. You can get one for $139. They're a short little kayak. The other thing that's been real popular the last couple of years are paddle boards. Well, the state just passed a new fee that your kayak and your paddleboard, if it's over 8 foot long, which I've never seen a paddleboard that is less than 8 foot, but if you have one of these items, it now has to be licensed just like a regular boat does. It has to have the visible letters on the side of it. You have to pay your $26 fee to the state for a 3-year license. And they passed this without asking you or I if we're okay with that. And, I guess I thought that in this free country of ours, that when we pay fees or when we pay taxes, it should be, not necessarily up to us, but initially, yeah, it should be up to us. We're the ones who should be making these decisions or justifying these expenses, and yet we were given no choice. It was just slipped right under the rug. And I guess, for most people out there, they're probably going to get a rude awakening this summer when the DNR rolls around and says, hey, you got to have a sticker on your paddleboard. Where's your sticker? Go get one. And again, $26 for 3 years, okay, it's not a big deal. But you charge Nestle $200 to pull out literally 400 plus gallons of water out of our aquifers a day, and you're only going to charge them $200 for this fee. So
last time I paid installments, for the water. Yeah. It was $250 for both places I own. $250. Okay, I've already paid, more than they did. So and I can't drink the water. And I brought that up on Facebook, and the guy said, "Well, maybe you should get a well, and it costs you about $6,000."
He wants me to well.
He wants. I said, "Well, you get charged. Well, I guess you can, but you're still going to get charged for sewage, for the runoff and stuff like that." So I'm going to have to pay more than a corporation who makes billions of dollars worldwide, maybe trillions. Who knows if you add it up worldwide? I'm going to have to pay more for my drinking water than they are for selling drinking water.
Yeah, you already pay more. And you're not getting
that's where 80,000 people, I guess, had protested or said they didn't want this to happen.
Yeah, you're exactly right, John. Thank you for bringing that up. Public sentiment on this was exactly mine, which was no way, BS, don't do it, don't let them. And the number in the paper reported 80,000 comments, whatever. And the director who approved this, our head of Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. Some female, I forget her name, she says, well, my job isn't really to disseminate public opinion, it's to follow the letter of the law. And according to this, I had to issue the license because they met the requirements. That's a cop-out. It's an absolute cop-out. And anytime these people want to step up and really, play the game, they don't hesitate to do so. All right, but then when it comes to the other side of the coin, oh, well, we got to follow the letter of the law. And then they just hide behind that. I think it's incredibly Hippocratic. But at any rate, let's move on. I got one more thing I want to share with you guys. I mentioned this person on our program last week, or last program, I guess it wasn't last week, was it, John? The week before. The candidate that's running for Attorney General here in Michigan, her name's Dana Nessel, okay? Democratic candidate running for Attorney General. It's going to be on the primary, actually. It's coming up here. And there was a recent smear tactic that was done in the paper. by her opponent, who is also a Democrat, running against her in the primary. I believe his name is Pat Mills. He somehow dug into her finance records, which I know they love to do this to each other, and basically said, hey, look, you had a couple fundraisers, Ms. Nessel, last year that you didn't even disclose. So you are dirty, 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 and you go to hell. So that's basically what he's trying to do. It's in the paper. You can read it today. I'm just letting you guys know this Dana Nessel character, although there may be some controversy around her, the controversy is not around her campaign finances, okay? She is an everyday street person, down-to-earth kind of individual, and I can guarantee you that there's no funny business going on with her campaign finances, okay? The people you need to watch are the ones that have 6+, 7+ figures in their campaign finance coffer, all right? People like Bill Schuette, okay? People like Pat Miles, all right? So if you want to know who the culprits are, you want to know who the people are to really watch out for, it's usually the ones out there who are pointing the finger at everybody else. And so at any rate, I just want to put that to rest. I think that she is a good candidate for Attorney General, and I know that she is a controversial figure, and that she is a strong proponent for personal rights. And I think that's what we need. We need more protection in our state government for personal rights, because as you can see with the examples that I just shared with you today, the emphasis is not on the individual any longer. It is on the corporation. And that's where our state feels that they should be headed. That's who they feel that they should listen to, who they should cater to, and to hell with what the general public believes or what they want. And I think that there's something to be said for that. So hopefully we can see the pendulum switch over during this voters season. And I would definitely encourage you guys, there's another important race that's coming up here, 49th District, which is the top of Genesee County. And our good friend, been on the show many times, Mr. Eric Gunnels, is running for that position as a Democrat for state representative of the 49th District. And I would definitely encourage you guys to take time this year to vote in the primary, okay? There are going to be a lot of battles won and lost in the primaries this year. And if we don't get the right people in at the primary, you won't have the right choice to make when it comes time to the actual voting election in November, okay? So mark your calendars, take time off from work if you have to. Get educated on the candidates and the issues that you're going to be seeing, because the primaries are getting to be more and more important every year. And it's in the primaries where we have an opportunity to elect people who represent us and not corporations, okay? And typically, by the time you get to the real election in November, only corporate interests are being represented at that point. And I think a lot of people could resonate with what I'm saying here if you go back to the last presidential election. A lot of you folks out there supported the secondary Democratic candidate, and only to see that person get the rug pulled out from underneath them. You can have an effect here at the primaries in Michigan, okay? You can prevent that from happening here in Michigan just by simply taking the time to make your vote count. So please, I'm encouraging you, start thinking about that. Mark your calendars, get ready, okay? All right, so that's the show for today. Main thing, mark your calendars for 420, man. We're going to have a good time. And I want to see you guys out there. It's going to be great. Hopefully we'll have some better weather. Hopefully we're getting it all out of our system now. But that's about it. So thanks for being with me this week on the show, guys. I definitely appreciate it. John, thanks for being with me in the studio and making it out on this snowy day. Guys, be careful and safe. Hopefully the snow will be gone by next week, and I'll be coming to you from a warmer place. So, all right, take care. This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. See ya.